The House will come to order. All members will take their seats. The clerk will unlock the machine and take the roll. Members will record their presence by pressing the green button. Is there any member present not yet recorded? Please hit the green button on your iPad. I know. The clerk will lock the machine. We have 57 members present. There is a quorum. All rise for the invocation to be delivered by Representative Baginski, who will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Representative Baginski.
John? Oh, good afternoon. We made it here, finally. As we begin our first session, I'd like to invoke the feelings of hopefulness and resilience and the deep sense of shared purpose offered up by Amanda Gorman, Youth Poet Laureate, in her poem, "The Hill We Climb," as recited yesterday at the inauguration of now President Biden. Yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the approval of the journal for the previous legislative day, January 5th? Hearing none, so ordered. Next order of business is communication. Clerk, please read.
Representative Gregory Constantino is unable to attend session today, Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Representative Alex Mazakowski is unable to attend session today, Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Representative Stephen J. Lima is unable to attend session today, Thursday, January 21st, 2021. The Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives presents the following communication to the State of Rhode Island House Chamber. The Honorable House of Representatives, I have the honor to inform you that I administered on this 12th day of January 2021 the oath of office to Arthur Handy of Cranston as representative of District 18. Respectfully yours, Nellie M. Gorbea, Secretary of State. The Honorable House of Representatives, I have the honor to inform you that I have administered on this 13th day of January 2021 the oath of office to Barbara Ann Fenton Fung of Cranston as representative of District 15. Respectfully yours, Nellie M. Gorbea, Secretary of State. The Honorable House of Representatives, I have the honor to inform you that I have administered on this 13th day of January 2021 the oath of office to Grace Diaz of Providence as representative of District 11. Respectfully yours, Nellie M. Gorbea, Secretary of State.
Thank you, Clerk. Received and placed on file, please. The next order of business is new business. Is there any new business? Chairman Azanaro, Deputy Speaker Lima, Chairman Solomon, Representative Casimiro, Representative Ruggiero, Representative McEntee, Chair Williams. Roberta will be collecting them, and there's also a box in front, so if you're close by, you can put it in the box in front. As you know, because of COVID, we don't have our pagers with us. Are there any other representatives with new business? Am I missing anybody? I think that concludes new business. We can certainly come back after. The next order of business is today's calendar. We have no calendar today. Are there any announcements or introductions? Chairman McNamara.
Thank you, Speaker. Per your permission and the minority leader, I have a House resolution for immediate consideration honoring and thanking Mayor Joseph Solomon Sr. for his dedicated service to the people of Warwick and the state of Rhode Island. I'd like to move passage.
Is there a second? Seconded by Chairman Craven, Representative Phillips, Representative Vella Wilkins, Representative Bennett, Chairman Corvasi, Representative Hawkins, Representative Barrows, Representative Falella, Representative McEntee, Deputy Speaker Lima, Whip Kazarian, Chairman Solomon, no surprise there, Majority Leader Blazajewski, Representative Lombardi, Chairman Amore, Chairman Abney, and Representative Hull. Deputy Whip Lima, Chairman Cortravan, Representative Norrie, Representative Newberry, Representative Bennett, Representative Chairman Azanaro. I said Deputy Whip Ackerman, but if I didn't, I apologize. I'm sorry. Representative Beer, Representative Fenton Fung, Representative Tabone. It is very hard to see Representative Cardillo with the lights and the mask, so please bear with me. And Lord knows I will mispronounce a few names along the way. It took me, Representative Fogel, it took me several years to learn Blazajewski. And then we have Mazlakowski and Baginski, so I'll get there. Can you please send that resolution up? I think Roberta will get it, Chairman. Thank you for bringing it up. Any other resolutions for immediate consideration? Thank you. Representative Bennett. Chairman Bennett.
Thank you, Speaker. I have a House resolution expressing condolences on the passing of Shirley Washburn. She's a beautiful lady, helped me throughout my campaigning for the last 10 years. Thank you.
She was. Thank you. Representative Bennett moves a resolution of immediate consideration. Is there a second? Seconded by Chairman Azanaro, Representative Vella Wilkinson, Representative Craven, Representative Phillips, Chairman Craven, I'm sorry, Representative Chippendale, and many others. Thank you. Please send that up as well. Any other resolutions? Thank you. Chairman Azanaro.
Thank you, Speaker. I have the permission of you and Minority Leader Filippi for the House resolution for immediate consideration for the passing of Jerry Squattrito, who was my clerk since I've been involved with the Veterans Affairs Committee. And I just want to say a couple of words, if I may, at this time. You know, once in a while in your life, you meet people that you just tend to love. Jerry was like a mother hen, if everybody knew Jerry. He took care of my office like it was my palace to him. He took care of other people that wanted a water or wanted a soda. He had some crackers, he had some pretzels, he had some peanuts, and everyone was made comfortable. Once in a while he got in trouble because of the amount of traffic that were going in and out of that office to grab a cup of coffee rather than go up to the third floor. But that was Jerry. His heart was immense. And on Christmas Day, it gave out on him. And we surely are going to miss him because he knew the office, he knew the connections with all of the veterans and everyone around the state of Rhode Island. So I have the House resolution in honor of him. If possible, we could read it. If not, we can read it after the session.
At the conclusion.
Thank you. He'll be sorely missed by all of the veterans in the state of Rhode Island, and mostly me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. He was a very dedicated, hardworking employee, and all the wonderful accolades you said about him as a human being. He will be surely missed. Representative Cuatrido.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the permission of both our leaders, I have a resolution for immediate consideration honoring and recognizing the 2,000 Rhode Islanders that have lost their lives to COVID. And if we could read it, that'd be great.
Thank you. It'll be read at the conclusion of the session. Is there a second for Representative Cuatrido's resolution? Seconded by Representative Hull, Representative Lombardi, Representative Fogarty, Representative Knight, Representative Shawcross, Chairman Abney, Representative Fangle-Rassa, Representative Donovan, Speakman, Carson, Henrys, Lita Blazajewski, Bia, Amore, Representative Hawkins, Representative Phillips, Chairman Bennett, Chairman Craven, Representative Cardillo, Chairman Corvasi, Representative McEntee, Representative Norey, Representative Caldwell, Representative Angelos, Representative Chairman McNamara, Representative Diaz, Representative Morales, Representative Kazar, Representative Deputy Speaker Lima, Representative Kislak, Representative Falella, Representative Tabone, Representative Casimiro, Whip Kazarian, Representative Tanzi, Representative Barrows, Representative Felix, Representative McGaw, Chairman Solomon, Deputy Whip Ackerman, Representative Carter, Representative Ruggiero, Representative Alzate, Representative Bella Wilkinson, Representative Fenton Fung, Representative Newberry, and the entire membership of the House. Thank you. I should have done that earlier. Any other resolutions for immediate consideration? Chairman Corvasi?
I just have an announcement with your permission, Mr. Speaker.
We'll get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Right after this representative. You have a resolution?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With your permission and that of the Minority Leader, I present for immediate consideration a House resolution honoring and thanking Mayor James Diosa for his dedicated service to the people of Central Falls and the state of Rhode Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Giraldo moves for immediate consideration of resolution congratulating Mayor Diossa. Is there a second? Why don't we try using the buttons for seconds? Be a little bit easier and faster, certainly easier for me. So you would record the purple button, and that will be recorded. We don't have to announce those. And we're learning. And I'll just take this moment. I know several of you who have said, with my permission, not anymore, and I thank you, it's the majority leader, Blaziszewski, and the minority leader, Filippi. When you have immediate consideration, you get their approval for it, just as an FYI going forward. All those seconded, thank you. Announcement, Chairman Corvesi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just an announcement. The House Rules Committee will be meeting at the Rise at Room 35 in the State House.
Thank you. Okay. I have a resolution by Chairman Magner honoring and thanking Mayor Joseph J. Solomon Sr. for his dedicated service to the people of Warwick and the state of Rhode Island. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. I have a resolution honoring and thanking the Mayor James Diossa for his dedication and service to the people of Central Falls and the state of Rhode Island, presented by Representative Giraldo. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. I have a House resolution expressing condolences on the passing of Shirley Washburn, presented by Chairman Bennett. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. I have a House resolution recognizing 400,000 Americans and over 2,000 Rhode Islanders who have lost their lives due to COVID-19, presented by Representative Cuatrido. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. And the final resolution expressing condolences on the passing of Jerome Angelos Cuatrido Jr. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. I have a House resolution expressing condolences. Let's see who. On behalf of the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader. All those in favor, please say aye. Thank you. And I have a resolution on behalf of the Majority Leader and Minority Leader expressing congratulations. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. All of those will be read at the Rise. Are there any other announcements? We will leave these resolutions out, so if anybody wants to sign after they've been read, they're more than welcome to. Any other announcements or introductions? Leader Blaziszewski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. For those looking for your legislation, please go to Ledge Council. We've been avoiding bringing them all over here to avoid too much paper flying around while we're social distancing in the time of COVID. But please pick up your legislation over there if it's ready. You can always reach out to Ledge Council and they will let you know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Is there any objection to transmitting all matters on the clerk's desk? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, I did not see you. Representative Newberry.
Point of personal privilege.
Please state your personal privilege.
I will elaborate on what I'm about to say. It's about public statements that were made about me. So, before I get to the specifics of why I got up today, I want to comment a little bit on social media in this country. I used to think that social media was a net positive. I think I still do, but the balance of that's been changing as I've watched this country get torn apart by social media commentary. I won't get into all the details. I think we can all agree it puts people in silos, puts people in echo chambers, and worse, I think it reinforces the worst instincts of humanity. It basically allows people to reward the worst character attacks, the loudest voices, the most extreme voices. And the worst of those social media sites is Twitter. Now, I use Twitter as an elected official because it's a good way to get a message out, but otherwise I have no real use for it. The worst part about Twitter is that it does not, let me put it this way, you can't really control people reply to you or respond to you or drag you into conversations. Not much you can do about that. And what that does is it leads to the proliferation of trolls. Now, we all know there's lots of Twitter trolls. There's the anonymous ones who are sad, pathetic losers, frankly, in my opinion, they're not worth our consideration. But there are the people that, amazingly, I think maybe I should know better from watching our celebrity culture, but you would think that people would have the natural instinct not to want to embarrass themselves under their own name, but they still do. It amazes me. And there are plenty of people out there who think it's perfectly appropriate to go on Twitter and say the most defamatory, salacious things about people. And I find it incredible. But again, most of those people, I don't really care about. I don't care, as my children would call it, what some rando says to me on Twitter. What does it matter? And as elected officials, we all have to deal with it when it comes to the territory. I think people who do this are basically cowards. I was giving some thought to this, and one of the problems in society is that there used to be a time when if you questioned someone's honor, their integrity, or their character, there were repercussions for that. And I'm not suggesting it was a good thing. I'm not suggesting we go back to the days of dueling pistols or anything like that, but there used to be a time when you said something about someone, you meant it, and you were willing to take the consequences. The problem with social media is people are allowed to get away and say whatever they want. There's no consequences whatsoever. So it enables, frankly, the cowardly people among us. It enables them to talk and say things they would never have the guts to say in person to someone. Now, you may ask, why do I care if I don't care what people say about me on Twitter? Well, I usually don't, but there was one specific instance that I'm going to recite now, which is why I got up, that I do care about. As we all know, there was a riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. I was asked on Twitter by the Providence Journal for comment. Now, I've been very publicly critical of the riots going on around this country this summer, particularly in places like Portland and Seattle, going on again last night, in fact. And so my response to the Providence Journal on Twitter, and you can look it up if you want, I'm paraphrasing myself, was essentially, I think violent riots are bad. I think violent rioters are bad people. I don't care what their reasons are or why they're doing it. And I think they should be arrested and prosecuted, whether it's in Washington, Seattle, Portland, or any number of other cities. Apparently, it's a controversial position for some people, but I'm not here to debate that. That is the extent of what I said. I also retweeted one article that elaborated on that same point. In response, one individual had this to say. I'm not even going to read it all. It's too long. But this is what this individual had to say about me. This is the most cynical of our politics. For me, Democrats are to blame for yesterday's historic act of treason. For him, it is of no particular offense the U.S. Capitol was sieged to thwart an election. It then goes on to say an epic failure to meet this time with any semblance of good faith, a deep betrayal wrapped in a cavalier attitude. It is disgraceful, and it must be realized as such, absolutely appalling. Well, let me tell you something. First of all, I never said Democrats were to blame. I wouldn't say that because A, it's not true, and B, it's stupid. I don't like being accused of stupidity, and I don't like being lied about on public platforms. I also don't like being told that I don't care about the Capitol being sieged. It's offensive, it's false, it's defamatory. The rest of the stuff could be considered opinion, a cavalier attitude, betrayal, disgraceful, appalling, whatever. The problem is the coward that wrote this is a member of this chamber, a newly elected one who I've never met. How dare he? How dare you? I am not going to stand by and have a member of this chamber publicly say lies about me ever without responding. I'm not going to name that person, but I'm getting up here today so you all know what we're dealing with. And I will conclude with this, Mr. Speaker. My favorite line in this was the beginning. This is the most cynical of our politics. Nothing I said was cynical. You may disagree, but it's what I think, and I'll debate you anytime. But you want to know what's cynical? What's cynical is running for office, getting support and money from people, making public promises to those people, and then the instant the ink is dry in your election, betraying that promise. That's far more cynical than anything I said. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative McLaughlin. Do you have your light? Do you want to be recognized? Thank you. Representative Fenton Fung? So ordered. Representative Morgan? Same request, so ordered. Both were marked present. I see no other lights. Are there anybody else who would like to be marked present, Mr. Lieutenant? Representative Tabone, Representative Diaz, Representative Slater. I can't see in the back with the light. Representative Casey. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. All we marked present. Representative Nardone, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Okay, if there are no objections to transmitting all matters on the clerk's desk to Her Excellency the Governor, the Honorable Senate, and the Secretary of State forthwith, I have received requests for adjournment in memory. I'd like to read them, please. Leader Blazajewski moves that the House adjourn in memory of Honorable Edward Beard, Glaynana Bernard, Manuel Enos, David Gomez, Richard Hart, Roger La Liberty, Thomas Bucky Manning, Timothy Mills, Bill Rapley, Sister Eleanor Mary Rock, Jerry Squattrito, and Shirley Washburn. Motion is seconded by Leader Filippi. All those in favor, please stand for a moment of silence. The House is adjourned and the desk remains open. Thank you.
No, I can take it off. I can take it off. House resolution honoring and thanking Mayor Joseph J. Solomon Sr. for his dedicated service to the people of Warwick and the state of Rhode Island. Whereas Joseph J. Solomon was born in the city of Providence, where he graduated from Classical High School. He received an accounting degree magna cum laude from Providence College and attained his Juris Doctor from New England School of Law in Boston. For the past 4 decades, he has made his home in the city of Warwick. And whereas Mayor Solomon's initial foray into politics resulted in 18 years of service as a Warwick City Councilman for Ward 4, during which he was elected by his fellow councilors to serve 4 times as the council's president. He had previously been the first chief judge of Warwick's municipal court for 5 years. And whereas during his tenure on the bench in council, Mayor Solomon gained not only an extensive understanding of the various branches of municipal government, but also a first-hand knowledge of the inner workings of the legislative responsibilities of elected officials. And whereas on May 16, 2018, the Honorable Joseph J. Solomon Sr. was sworn in as mayor of the city of Warwick, and over the past 2 years and a half has been a true champion of his fiscal responsibility, economic development, superior city services, and environmental protection and accessibility to Warwick's beautiful coastline. In addition, he has been committed to the improvement of infrastructure and municipal buildings. And whereas Mayor Solomon has been married to his wife Cynthia for 36 years, and together they have 1 son, the Honorable Joseph J. Solomon Jr., and a family dog, Buddy. He is a communicant of St. Kevin and Benedict and St. George's parishes. In addition to his full-time, he enjoys the city's local beaches and abundant restaurants, and admiring new and vintage cars at Oakland Beach's cruise nights. And whereas Mayor Solomon has bolstered Warwick's economy and has made the city a more convenient place to which to do business and travel, and he is eminently worth of our gratitude and recognition. Now, therefore, it be resolved that this House of Representatives of the state of Rhode Island hereby honors and thanks Mayor Joseph Solomon for his dedicated service to the people of the city of Warwick and the state of Rhode Island. We moreover wish him good health, happiness, and much success in all his future endeavors. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be and hereby is authorized and directed to transmit a duly certified copy of this resolution to the Honorable Joseph J. Solomon Sr. House resolution honoring and thanking Mayor James Diosa for his dedicated service to the people of Central Falls and the state of Rhode Island. Whereas in 2013, James Diosa became the first Latino and youngest mayor in the city of Central Falls, and at the time, the state. The son of immigrant textile workers, mill workers from Columbia, he was born and raised in Central Falls and attended Becker College in Massachusetts, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And whereas, shortly after graduation, he became concerned with so many of his contemporaries leaving the city he loved, inspired by Barack Obama's campaign for president, he formed a grassroots campaign consisting of friends and family to run for a seat on the Central Falls City Council, representing the 4th Ward. And despite having very limited resources and no prior political experience, He challenged the local political machine and won the election by 17 votes. He was sworn in as a member of the Central Falls City Council in January of 2010. And whereas, with the energy of youth and determination to make a positive change for the people of the city, then Councilor Diosa assiduously engaged his constituency in an all-out effort to make government more accessible for the city's working class. He successfully advocated to keep the city's only public library and post office open. And when the city's reputation came under increased negative attack in the media, he called upon the state and federal leaders to visit with the hardworking families in his amazing city. And whereas in 2012, Central Falls was pummeled with both fiscal and political difficulties, stepping up to the challenge, then Councilor James Diosa ran for mayor, winning decisively. He was sworn in as mayor in January of 2013, re-elected in 2016, and has not only restored the city's reputation for honest governance, but has also rebuilt its fiscal sustainability and civic pride. And whereas during his tenure, Mayor Diosa led the city out of bankruptcy, raising its long-term bond rating to BBB, investment grade, and has been successful in securing millions in federal and foundation funding for quality of life and infrastructure improvements. He has championed improvements to infrastructure and better sanitation equipment, and opened a tutoring center for children whose parents are immigrants and don't speak English fluently. And whereas Mayor James Diosa has successfully made Central Falls the comeback city of Rhode Island, and through his example, he has energized a new generation of civic leaders, and he is eminently deserving of our gratitude and admiration. Now, therefore be it resolved that this House of Representatives of the state of Rhode Island hereby honors and thanks Mayor James Diosa for his dedicated service to the people of the city of Central Falls and the state of Rhode Island. We moreover wish him, his fiancée, Senator Sandra Cano, and their beautiful baby daughter, Ariana Hillel, good health, happiness, and much success in all future endeavors, and it be further resolved that the Secretary of State be and hereby is authorized and directed to transmit a duly certified copy of this resolution to the Honorable James Diosa. House resolution expressing condolences on the passing of Shirley Ann Washburn. Whereas Shirley Ann Washburn, a well-respected resident of the city of Warwick, passed away on December 28, 2020. She was the beloved wife of the late Edward Washburn Jr. and the daughter of the late Mr. and Mrs. Vittorio and Evelyn Gallerani. And whereas Shirley Washburn began her professional career as a laboratory technologist, she then transitioned to a career in bookkeeping, working for a variety of companies, including the former Davisville Credit Union of Wickford. And whereas Mrs. Washburn made her biggest impact on a revered figure within the political culture of Warwick, she served in numerous positions, including on the ward committee for decades and on various other city boards. She received an appointment to the Electoral Review Committee of the Rhode Island Senate and has also volunteered her time working backstage in support of numerous campaigns, earning the label Political Fairy Godmother. And whereas Shirley Washburn later became a full-time employee for the city of Warwick, serving with integrity and distinction as a payroll clerk until her retirement. And whereas during her retirement, Mrs. Washburn loved traveling around the globe and scrapbooking about all her incredible trips and adventures. Her other hobbies included doing the daily crossword puzzle and cheering on her favorite New England sports teams. Above all, she enjoyed spending time with her family and taking the entire family on cruise vacations. And whereas Mrs. Washburn is survived by her children, Jean Carrera and Paul Washburn. She is also survived by her sister, June Steck, brother Richard Gallerani and his wife Eleanor, daughter-in-law Francesca La Rosa, granddaughters Melissa, Nicole, Kristen, Jennifer, Stacy, Emanuela, and Evelyn, and 13 great-grandchildren. Kyle, Jameson, Lee, Kaylee, Caden, Jackson, Chloe, Logan, Caleb, Julian, Jolie, Jacob, and Connor. She was the mother of the late David Washburn, sister of the late Louis Gallerani, and mother-in-law of the late Charles Carrera, now Therefore, be it resolved that this House of Representatives of the State of Rhode Island hereby expresses its condolences to the Washburn family on the passing of Shirley Ann Washburn, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be and hereby is authorized and directed to transmit duly certified copies of this resolution to Jean Carrera and Paul Washburn. House resolution recognizing the 400,000 Americans and over 2,000 Rhode Islanders who have lost their lives to COVID-19. Whereas our nation has reached a grave point in our history as the death toll from COVID-19 has surpassed 400,000 Americans, including more than 2,000 Rhode Islanders. And whereas the Presidential Inaugural Committee hosted a lighting ceremony at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool on the afternoon of January 19, 2021, a day ahead of President-elect Biden's inauguration in ceremony, and encouraged communities across the country to mark the moment. And whereas the rapid spread of the virus, the scope of its impact, and the mitigation through social distancing has prevented families and communities from having the opportunity to grieve, remember and mourn those whose lives taken by the disease. And whereas so many Rhode Islanders are grieving the loss of family, friends, and neighbors, and the mourning process has been delayed, inhibited, and distorted in ways that have left us as individuals and as a community with unresolved grief that will affect us for years to come. And whereas the pandemic has also exposed long-standing inequalities that make racial minorities and economically disadvantaged groups more vulnerable to COVID-19 and numerous other diseases. Frontline workers who care for our sick and elderly, pack our groceries, and serve our food, along with the homeless and our non-English speaking residents, are the people who need our attention most as we work to prevent more deaths from COVID-19. And whereas it is important that we honor those who have died and reflect on what has been one of the most challenging periods in our nation's history. Now, therefore be it resolved that this House of Representatives of the State of Rhode Island hereby stands together in shared grief with all Americans. We moreover rise to observe 2 minutes of silence in remembrance of the 2,000 Rhode Island souls we have lost, and acknowledge the marginalized communities that have been disproportionately burdened by COVID-19, and renew our commitment to coming together to end the pandemic and to rebuild our state and country. House resolution expressing the condolences on the passing of Jerome Angelos Cuatrido, Jr. Whereas Jerome A. Jerry Squattrito, Jr. of Bristol, Rhode Island, passed away on December 26, 2020, Mr. Squattrito was born in Fall River, Massachusetts, son of Anita and the late Jerome A. Squattrito. And whereas Jerry Squattrito was a 1974 graduate of Bristol High School, where he played baseball and was a member of the first ice hockey team at Bristol High School. He was also a passionate fan of the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Bruins. And whereas for the past 27 years, Mr. Squattrito served the Rhode Island House of Representatives with integrity and tireless devotion. Since 2004, he served as a supervisor for the State of Rhode Island House of Representatives Veterans Affairs Committee, where he offered invaluable insight on issues related to veterans. He was always available when a veteran needed assistance. And whereas prior to his service with the Rhode Island General Assembly, he served in a number of different positions, including at the Rhode Island Veterans Home and serving as a member of the Defiance Hose Company with the Bristol Fire Department. He also served as the Brown University head equipment manager for all varsity sports, and later was the Zamboni rink operator for Providence College. Mr. Squattrito also was the owner of J. Fox Screen Printing and Embroidery in Bristol. And whereas Jerry Squattrito was beloved by his friends and colleagues at the State House, he was a dedicated public servant who cared deeply about the people he served. More importantly, he was a loving, kind, and caring son and friend, someone who always brought laughter and joy into the lives of others. Whereas, besides his mother, Anita Squattrito, Jerome Squattrito Jr. leaves behind his uncle Raymond Tarantelli, many cousins, and his closest friends, the DeCastro family, including Leslie, her children Cara Estrella and husband Thomas, James DeCastro Jr. and his wife Camblin, and Leslie's grandchildren, Cole, James Estrella, and Kenzie Jade Estrella. He was preceded in death by his sister, Dr. Geraldine Squattrito. Now therefore be it resolved that this House of Representatives of the State of Rhode Island hereby expresses its deep condolences to the Squattrito and DeCastro families on the passing of Jerome Angelos Cuatrido Jr., and it be further resolved that the Secretary of State be and hereby is authorized and directed to transmit duly certified copies of this resolution to Mrs. Anita Squattrito and Leslie DeCastro.